Hi, my pronouns are they, he. I don't have a name, I'm just a sentient flock of crows piloting a meat suit. My Vedic moon is in Gemini, which entitles me to financial compensation, and you have landed on the worst channel ever. At least according to the YouTube algorithm. Once upon a time, this was a decent, watchable commentary channel, but this past year I stopped trying to appease the algorithm because YouTube has felt like an uphill battle for a long time, and trying to appease the algorithm constantly has been damaging my mental health, and I am far from alone in this exact scenario. Today we are talking about dislike attacks and what's really hurting our mental health. No nonsense, straight to the point. Small disclaimer, it has hit me worse emotionally than some other creators because I already have mental health issues, and also it's the algorithm has forced me to curate a channel that I absolutely hate, full of videos that fill me to the brim with anxiety, because those videos are about things that are very controversial, leading to emotionally charged comments that make me want to drown myself. I wonder why so many YouTubers have burnout, making the same videos over and over again, based on what the algorithm wants, not even what people want. You see, from what I can tell, except for a select few YouTubers, it's impossible to find success on this platform unless you manage to trick this cold, unfeeling machine into treating you nice, and even then, you're still going to be overwhelmed with comments of dubious intent, to say the least. But alas, a light at the end of the tunnel. YouTube has finally taken action to help YouTubers' rapidly disintegrating mental health. What have they done to help us? They hid dislikes from public view, as I'm sure many of you have already noticed and are very thrilled about. So to be clear, now I can see how many dislikes I have, but no one else will know. Thanks, I hate it. The reason for implementing such an unpopular feature, supposedly is to protect creators from dislike attacks. It's for our mental well-being, right? Especially since small tubers are more likely to be targeted by dislike attacks. It's so ridiculous. And YouTube cares a lot about small tubers. That's why they demonetize them across the board, supposedly because advertisers were only interested in their ads appearing on big-name YouTubers, but then YouTube decided to, turn that back and run ads on these small channels anyway, only YouTube would be getting the revenue. I don't even know what to say about that, but I have feelings about it. I definitely buy that YouTube cares about small tubers, it's very believable. Disabling dislikes couldn't possibly have anything to do with, say, maybe advertisers getting a lot of dislikes on their videos, making them look unprofessional, or other theories that people have. And it's definitely true that small tubers are constantly getting harassed with those pesky dislike attacks. More so than larger creators more people have heard of. And we know that this is definitely true because this information comes from data YouTube collected over the course of multiple months, but will not share with us. But they assure us it is an in-depth analysis of the impact. They would totally share the details of this totally real study with us if they could. They'd even show us this study, which no one has seen, but it definitely exists. It's a real thing. But unfortunately, they can't share the results or anything from this totally real study that was definitely conducted for real. Okay, so can I first say, because this is killing me, the phrase dislike attack sounds completely ludicrous. The dislike button, at worst, gives haters a small dopamine rush, and maybe they'll leave you alone and not leave their hate comment, but disliking helps people vent a little rage. Take, for instance, this comment from Ashton. They say it's for mental health, but I think it could lead to more hate comments, because those people can't use the dislike button to feel valid in their negative reception, so they may feel the need to leave a comment. I think they're probably doing this more for advertisers than as a response to cancel culture. I agree with this, and I do think that this is what they're getting at with this dislike attack thing is cancel culture more than anything else. Also, regarding Ashton's comment, if it comes between a dislike or a comment, I'll easily take the dislike. I am okay with being disliked. I'm not okay with being harassed. No one who leaves hate comments or even just heavy criticism thinks that what they're doing is wrong, and no one comment disagreeing with me or telling me to go kill myself is going to ruin my day. But people have to remember that when you're getting hundreds upon hundreds of negative comments, whether they're outright menacing or just doubting your intelligence or whatever, it all adds up. I haven't noticed a rise in hate comments, but then again, this isn't the best time to be testing it because I've been getting more hate comments than I can keep up with lately anyway, because Creepshow Art still has supporters. Yes, I know, insane. You'd be surprised how many viewers would be able to sympathize with or turn a blind eye to stalking, doxing, and cyberbullying, but will draw the line at calling out a public figure on their antisocial behaviors because it's not politically correct to do so. Y'all got some f***ed up priorities, wow. Either that or Shannon made 200 fake accounts just to call me jealous. Take your pick. Now let's get back to talking about YouTube removing the dislikes before I pop a blood vessel. Now personally, I don't hate everything about this change. Seeing dislikes on my favorite creators' videos doesn't exactly brighten my day. On the majority of videos, like 99% of them, I'm fine with there being no dislikes. But there are some exceptions that I'll get into a bit. Also, I'm extremely suspicious about YouTube's motives when they aren't even being fully candid about how the feature has been implemented, let alone their reasons for doing it. Take this video clip, for example, where they announce it.
But you won't be able to see the dislike count. Only the creator can find it on the back end if they want.
If they want? How can you avoid something in your video tab? A tab that allows you to access your videos. A tab that is legit the most important tab out of all of the tabs. Am I supposed to look at the numbers but not read them? This is just a straight up lie, in my opinion, because it's there, in my face, just scrolling down my list of videos. That's not hidden in its own tab. I encounter this page regularly doing administrative tasks. It's the easiest way to find one of my videos and check to see how much money it made, read comments, edit the description, and check the analytics to see whether or not I completely wasted my time making it, etc. How does that translate into it being my choice to not view the dislikes? Is it realistically my choice not to check my analytics? No, it is not. YouTubers need analytics, okay? We can't avoid the analytics page. Now that we've got that out of the way, segue to my main point. Dislikes aren't really the reason YouTuber mental health is so piss poor in general. Cyberbullying and cancel culture mixed with relying on a poorly coded algorithm that determines our successes. Today, we are mainly going to talk about dislikes, but actually no, I think dislikes comments about half and half. You see all these hate comments holding YouTubers to unreasonably high standards that are above and beyond what most people are expected to ever reach. And the fear of being picked apart by an angry mob eager to find fault with you for the smallest of things. And believe me when I say, people can be insanely cruel on the internet over the smallest of things. I legit got a comment on my last video. They didn't have anything specific to critique. It was just, my attitude is offensive to them. Thanks, I'll be sure to smile more in my next video. And it wasn't a joke. They really meant it. And while one mean comment doesn't make a difference, hearing it over and over again, after the 100th time or so, you start believing the hate comments are right. It's really hard not to internalize it, especially if you're like me and you have CPTSD, a disorder marked by chronic feelings of self-doubt, self-loathing, and low self-worth. And also, the normal PTSD symptoms on top of that. It's basically the same as PTSD, except it arises from having multiple traumas instead of just, one trauma. But anyway, first of all, let's get this out of the way, too. Dislikes don't even do anything, okay? I need everyone to understand this. And since dislikes don't do anything, there's no reason to even total them up to begin with, if only the creators can see them. If a large number of dislikes, say, kept a video from circulating, it would make sense for YouTube to tally them up. But the number of dislikes doesn't affect anything algorithmically on a site-wide scale, only at the individual level, or at least that's how it's supposed to go. But it doesn't. You see, supposedly the button is there to tune your recommendations, and the count is there so creators know that their audience didn't enjoy the video. But not only is there no way to tell if the dislikes are coming from your target audience or from a bunch of trolls, I don't think most people use the dislike button for honest reasons, nor do I think that disliking a video tunes your recommendations at all. Because my sister and I, we've compared notes, and both of us have disliked videos only to get creators of those disliked videos continuously recommended to us in an even higher volume if they're popular enough. So, looks like disliking doesn't do much to tune your recommendations. She actually thinks that it actively causes more of the videos to be recommended to you. I'm not sure about that, but because there might be other reasons. But anyway, Yeah, hell, one YouTuber even made a mean video about me. I disliked it, and then YouTube recommended more of their videos to me. Stay evil, YouTube, you classy son of a bitch. Okay, and in my experience as a creator, people only hit the dislike button to get their dopamine hit when they're pissed off because they don't like your opinion, your gender, your race, your voice, your hair, your sexuality, or even just your stupid, annoying face. Or maybe they're jealous or something. You never know. I've always just seen it as kind of a f*** you button. I've had upwards 5,000 f*** yous on a single video, as a matter of fact, so I guess you could say I'm kind of a big deal. I jest, but yeah, dislikes aren't as good an indicator on your audience's enjoyment as watch time is. Most dislikes on average do not come from people in your target audience, and a high dislike count, that usually just means your video was successfully spread throughout the site to where it reached outside of your target audience. So people who weren't really interested in your niche somehow encountered the video. So in that way, dislikes are actually a good sign, not a bad one. And like I said, I don't think dislikes tune your recommendations at all. It's obnoxiously hard to tune...
Power on.
Are you kidding me? There goes my speaker. And dislikes don't tune your recommendations. I'm pretty sure of that. It's obnoxiously hard to tune your recommendations on YouTube, but that's a video for another day. A large number of dislikes don't keep a video from circulating, and they certainly don't call me a prejudiced slur or make me question if I'm a good person who deserves to take up space on this planet. Dislikes don't even hurt my feelings. Everyone has dislikes on their videos. And up until now, it was clearly, you could always tell that everyone gets a bunch of dislikes on their videos. Anytime any creator has the slightest amount of, success, sounds like a foreign concept on this platform, but anytime they have success, they have dislikes. And again, this is coming from someone who has CPTSD, who is recently traumatized and still getting over things that happened a month ago. And I am telling you, dislikes ain't shit. They are not, nor have they ever been, the issue. Ever since I posted that Why I No Longer Believe Timothy Heller video in 2017, there has been one single solitary person who comes to every video I make to hit dislike. And yes, I'm sure it's always the same person, as they legit took the time to dislike every single video I ever uploaded, even old gaming videos that nobody watched, all in one session. I guess they just opened all my videos up to that point in a row, and I was a small tuber then, so I noticed and hit dislike on every single one of them. You see, that kind of thing, that fuels me. I live to spite this one person who's so obsessed with me that they must be the first dislike, and I joke that it's Timothy Heller showing up to pay her respects, except I haven't seen them since YouTube rolled out this feature. Where are you at, homie? You forgot to dislike my Sims 3 video where I gave my original character a second chance at a happy childhood. Don't leave me hanging just because no one else can see. I can see it. I miss you. Come on, don't tell me you didn't dislike that video. It even has a music video inside it. I sang without warming up first. Someone even left me a hate comment telling me it's offensive for me to abuse fictional characters. I worked hard for that downvote that doesn't do anything to make something truly worthy of your hate. We had so much together. Was our relationship a joke to you all along? Thanks a lot, YouTube. You took away the one thing I looked forward to when I take my trash to the dump, which is my new metaphor for uploading a video to YouTube. Oh my god, when my sister called me up just to tell me that I'm just like Rick Sanchez, I'm starting to get what she meant. It was after the Shy Pooper episode. But anyway, in all seriousness, I can't imagine being that miffed about dislikes. I am a queer in the year 2021. I know people are going to dislike me and my videos on principle. I can more or less guess how these people feel about my videos, and I really don't care. Not everyone is going to like anyone, trans or no. I'm a female with opinions, and I refuse to shut my fat mouth. And I made my peace long ago that not everyone was gonna like me. As a matter of fact, I don't even want everyone to like me, because being universally palatable, that's the same as being boring. There are even people out there who hate water, and you literally need it to survive. So why would I expect everyone to like me? It's natural to assume that the more subscribers I get, the more haters I'll get. And when I lose subscribers, that doesn't really bother me much either. My head goes straight to that scene in Rick and Morty. I think it was in season 2, the apocalypse episode, where that guy's like, "Weak blood has been purged from us and has made us stronger." I don't want any followers unless they, really like my content and want to be a part of my community. YouTube needs to focus on the real issue, which is cyberbullying. Knowing people dislike my video is one thing. Getting bombarded with hate mail, harassment, etc., that's another thing. Now, obviously, some people are more sensitive than others. One of the features of CPTSD is positive comments not affecting me as much as negative ones, I'm afraid. And I know we can't just keep all rude people from commenting. That's not realistic at all. But I find that some online communities are more polite than others, and some comment sections across the internet don't tolerate rudeness. There are reasons for that. Good moderation is one. YouTube needs moderators. I know it's unrealistic to expect there to be enough moderators to really clean up this site, as I would have to expect a capitalist empire that has a monopoly on the market to pay thousands of people a living wage. I'm just saying it's what needs to happen, and wouldn't it be nice if it could happen? In lieu of that big project, which I honestly don't ever think will happen, all I ask is that YouTube themselves intervene at times. Ban a reasonable number of people from commenting first as a warning, and then permanently if they don't follow the terms of service. They don't have to scrub their website of every rude comment. They just have to make people realize there are consequences to constantly being a dick. There are a lot of comments on the site that don't explicitly break the terms of service, but that are clearly intended to cause hurt. There needs to be some kind of consequence to that, maybe take away their skip ad button or switch them to YouTube Kids. I don't know, use your imagination. And also, I'm sick of moderating my own comment section. But the alternative is to leave hate comments up, knowing that it will upset my audience, and believe me, I have had to intervene in a few fights. Or, I could employ someone, I guess. I can't afford that. Or maybe. Users whose comments are often blocked or reported by YouTubers, because, we do have that hide user feature, so you could make it to where frequently hidden users are investigated, their comments read up, and, maybe put them on the chopping block for IP ban, because I'm pretty sure that the bulk of rude, mean, hateful comments on this website come from a minority of very, very angry people who go around attacking creators that they don't like, instead of just, touching grass or something. People will get very passionately angry about pretty much nothing, I find, if they're in a bad place. But anyway, other times, I guess they feel jealous of you and they look for some kind of flaw in your work to exaggerate, to knock you down a peg. Spoiler alert, I'm already on the bottom peg, nowhere to go but up. Now, I admit, after a month of browsing YouTube without the dislikes, I found I enjoyed it more without seeing how much everyone hates everything. A feature that quantifies other people's opinions like this, especially negative ones, it's just not valuable to me because I don't consider other people's opinions when I draw conclusions. At least I don't value the opinions of random strangers, especially when you don't know. It's not like a good sample size. Maybe it's just an autistic thing. Maybe I'm just a leader, not a follower. I really don't know. I've always been a very independent thinker. I guess I just have sensitive emotions. And, it hurts my feelings when people constantly assume the worst of me and won't give me the benefit of the doubt. But anyway, bottom line, I think for myself, so no, I don't personally miss this dislike feature at all. But I do worry that this will make things go the way of TikTok, where it's much, much easier for false information to be spread. Because you'll notice, disliking on TikTok, you have to go through the share button in order to do it, for one thing, and you have to say not interested, and it's not really a true dislike button. There's no shown dislike count, and unless there's a comment that the creator leaves up telling you that something is fake, misinformation spreads on that site like wildfire, and I would hate to see that happen on YouTube too. And it's worth saying, again, that's not a problem for me because I think for myself, but it is a problem for other people. And it's worth saying that the majority of people I polled disagree with my sentiment and consider this a mostly bad thing. And you know what? I understand why you feel that way, and I'm mad for you guys. I'll read off a few comments right now because they bring up some really good points, things that I didn't really consider myself at first. A lot of people brought up the argument about clickbait. A large dislike count usually indicates that something is clickbait, or I shouldn't say usually, more like quite often, such as this comment from Jojo Nicole. It's going to be so difficult to weed out clickbait and so many other things. The like to dislike ratio dictates whether or not I would watch a tutorial or try to find a different one. The trailer for Cuties is going to sit at 17 million views and no visible dislikes. This is gonna be great. Very good points. I personally don't encounter this issue because I don't watch tutorials. I prefer the just wing it approach to everything in life. Maybe that's why I've messed up so much in my life. But yeah, now you could end up watching a tutorial, invest a bunch of time in it, and even try it yourself before finally finding out it's horse shit. Wonderful. Speaking of tutorials, are you looking for a tutorial that you can guarantee is worth your time? Look no further than the sponsor for today's video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with a variety of engaging classes on subjects like illustration, both digital and traditional, singing, songwriting, productivity, entrepreneurship, just about anything you'll ever need as a creative. Backgrounds were always my weakness as an illustrator, so I'm taking concept artist Jonas DeRoe's class, Digital Painting Concept Landscapes. When you look at a completed picture, it looks so complicated, but DeRoe's class helped me understand that it's really just a step-by-step process. It's not any scarier than figure drawing or portrait drawing. It's just another form of art, and it's not that scary. The older I get, the more I consider getting a traditional job in the art field, and thankfully, Skillshare has made art school basically obsolete. Being skilled and having a good portfolio is more important than having a degree. And with Skillshare's transcript feature, it's easier for neurodivergent and hearing impaired learners to focus on the lesson. As Skillshare is curated specifically for learning, there are no ads to distract you, and Skillshare is more accessible than ever with subtitles in Spanish, French, Portuguese, and German. The first 1,000 of my subscribers to click the link in the description will get a free trial of premium membership so you can explore your creativity today. This trial offer won't last forever, so feel free to pause the video and join Skillshare if you like. For another perspective on why removing dislikes is such a bad idea, Maura M says, I can understand where YouTube is coming from with getting rid of the dislike button, but it is not going to work out the way they expect. In fact, I believe it might be worse or could be worse. I don't know if this makes any sense, but for my perspective, there's a lot of questionable videos that I can't help but wonder as to why YouTube hasn't taken any initiative, and now with a dislike button removed, these videos will now only have the views, and the dislike button no? Good points there as well. Definitely food for thought. This is a very, very strongly disliked feature. And this does remind me of a personal anecdote. I can recall a time several years ago when I had about 20-30K. I wasn't that popular, and a popular YouTuber, who I'm not saying his name still, we've still got a truce as far as I know, and I'm not even sure his video is still up, but he was one of Timothy Heller's friends, and his channel was like 10 times bigger than mine. He made a video taking me out of context and misrepresenting my opinion on Timothy Heller falsely accusing Melanie Martinez of something that rhymes with vape, which got me harassed online and called a vape apologist, except we're talking about something much, much worse than vaping. No jokes, please. Though I also got a lot of comments that were marveling at how my video made more sense than the other one. But yeah, you know, a lot of sheeple who didn't really question what he was saying came to vent their anger at me for things that I never said. And it was so blatantly obvious that those ignorant comments were coming from their video because they were all telling people to go watch so-and-so's video. Well, I didn't watch his video because listening to someone slander me is not my idea of a good time, and my friends had already watched his video and told me about it, but I did click on it and I noticed a high dislike ratio, and that was a small comfort for me, since you can delete comments, and I assume he was doing just that. But back then, you couldn't hide dislikes without looking suspicious. Almost nobody on this website ever bothers to hide dislikes on any of their videos, let alone just one single video, because, you know, dislikes secretly don't do anything, and hiding them would flag to your target audience that something is off. Now that dislikes are hidden, though, there's no indication that his video was slander without actually putting the effort into watching it actively while using critical thinking skills that most people come to YouTube to tune out from. And even then, there's now no obvious indicator he cropped my video to misrepresent me and made me look bad. Because of this recent step towards censorship, you'd have to watch a total of, like, I'd say 4 or 5 videos to get the full picture on the situation now, and that's nuts. How are you even supposed to find all those videos? Or know which ones to watch, even? Trust in the algorithm to spread the truth and light, and not just side with the bigger YouTuber? Granted, my video response to him ended up being more popular than his video, which I kinda expected, you know. Obviously, my video was favored by the algorithm because it was more relevant to my audience interests than his video was to his audience's interests, and watch time was higher because it wasn't full of false information and logical fallacies, and also because it was 2 hours long with no filler. And of course, like I said, there was a high dislike ratio on his video, warning others that it contained false information and a bad conclusion. Meanwhile, I maintained a healthy 96%. I'm not ashamed of the number of dislikes I got on that video, because it was mostly likes, and I knew it was a highly contested subject, and I was talking about a popular YouTuber. But yeah, I really did make an example out of him, and the drama was over before it started, so it was never picked up by other drama channels. I offered him a ceasefire truce, and it's unclear if he took it, but he did stop messing with me. Now, the moral of this story is, this ended well for me because I'm a strategist, and I do extensive research for all of my videos, so I'm always up for debate, and I'm always ready to debunk slander. Slandering me isn't a death sentence per se, but I will not let people get away with it. I will make sure they don't have a fun time as a result. But now dislikes are gone. It's going to be nigh impossible to call someone out on their BS if you're a small tuber who doesn't respond to slander by, Jekyll and hiding themselves into the unholy alchemization of Judge Judy, a rattlesnake, and an Uno reverse card. I am definitely the minority here. I don't think most people do that. I think most people just lie low and stay out of it. But I guess I'm just aggressive. I don't know. But yeah, I'm the exception, not the rule. And now I worry about what will happen to small tubers who don't have, this mindset of defense lawyer / detective. Though, if I could offer some advice to small tubers, it's not to take it lying down. If another creator tries to misrepresent you and you have proof of that, please share it, stand your ground, put them on trial for what they did to you. You don't have to sensationalize it, make a big deal about it or anything, but definitely do not apologize if you've done nothing wrong, because it will just make it look like you really did do something. Because if viewers mess with you in mass behind the veil of anonymity, there's not much you can do about it. No logic, no apology, no nothing will be good enough for them if they feel justified in bullying you. And, a lot of YouTube personalities, some of them have this cult-like following and young audiences that are full of vulnerable people who can easily be manipulated and steered in the wrong direction. And I hate it, but that's just kind of how it is. That's why we have cults, for example. And I will say this, even though I hid his name, going back to my specific anecdote, some people figured out who I was talking about, and the result wasn't pretty for him. Now, I'm not saying Teddy Boy or whatever analysis I gave him, I think it was like Tedwin Costco or something, didn't deserve any backlash at all for trying to sabotage Melanie Martinez's career for clicks. Obviously, that's an objectively horrible thing to do, and he absolutely did deserve to be called out for it. But I highly doubt things were that simple for him based on how he was acting. I honestly assume that people were sending him death threats and he just didn't want to point that out because that's kind of not the smart way to handle death threats. So, yeah, that sort of thing is definitely taking it too far. So anyway, am I afraid of people like him? No. But I am concerned it will be easier for creators like him to manipulate their audiences now than it was before, and a crowd of angry people hiding behind the anonymity of the internet can be very intimidating. This will get worse now that dislikes and their associated dent in credibility are a thing of the past. Now, if a popular YouTuber attacks a small tuber today, they may be toast, even if the bigger influencer is just flat out lying and making everything up, or taking them out of context, cropping their video, whatever, because of the extent to which they can just censor dissent within their community, and the majority of people will not try to seek the truth out on their own. They'll just trust that big YouTuber. Dislikes are now gone, and criticism within the comments can just be vamoosed with the simple abuse of a creator's hide user feature, because when you hit hide user, it doesn't just hide that one comment. It hides every comment they ever left on your whole channel. Any commenter who points out, hey, you are straight up abusing your platform, well, now you can just ban them. And there's no way to know that it ever happened. Now, does that mean I'll go down easy if someone picks on me? No, because I'm mean. But it may not go well for small YouTubers. And it's really sad. Believe me, we are moving to a very dystopian era of YouTube. I can feel it in my bones, and I am not excited. And of course, somebody would have to weed whack their lawn when I'm trying to record. I hate everything. Anyway, dislike attacks are not an issue for the average YouTuber. unless they are either A, targeted by the alt-right, in which case it will always be obvious what's going on, or B, they are trying to manipulate their audience. In fact, I would argue that these so-called dislike attacks, so ludicrous, are sometimes needed so that people can see at a glance that something is off. If a large number of people are coming to a video to dislike it, that might not be that they're trying to attack it. It may be that they're trying to warn people that it's complete and utter horseshit. And we're not even just talking like cyberbullying smaller creators here. Like, people could give harmful medical advice or all sorts of things on this platform. I've seen it happen. And now they're definitely gonna get away with it. I hate this. I changed my mind. I changed my stance. I hate this feature. I hate it. It would be really nice if YouTube would, take more care for these actual attacks, which take place in the form of cancel culture, which some people really do think that this is about cancel culture, but it's not very, what's the word I'm looking for? Sincere. Like, it's one of those things you do to make it look like you're doing something. Oh, we removed the dislikes. Yeah. So anyway, how's that for creator mental health, YouTube? Absolutely anyone who runs across that slanderous video that Teddy Boy made about me, which may or may not still be up, I'm not sure, will no longer have a way of gauging how little credibility he has. Which sucks, because unlike me, he used my name in his video, and everyone knows who to go spam hate to. Because oddly enough, there's no consequence to slander unless the person being slandered is rich, because to my knowledge, you can't really do much about it with YouTube. You can try, but, really the only way to settle this sort of thing is in court, or by starting a bunch of drama. But at least now I can watch I Know the End by Phoebe Bridgers without looking at that unnecessarily high dislike ratio and wondering why so many people have no taste. I know I sound sarcastic right now, but it's almost worth it, maybe? I can always delete my whole channel and just be an ordinary viewer. I've been on the fence about it for a while now, and while I'm on that train of thought, we can all just stop uploading videos to YouTube. We can just all quit. Who's with me? So basically, here's how I see it. There's a lot of general tension that is relieved by taking away the dislike score, contributing to an overall more positive environment, just kind of generally. That's the upside to dislikes being removed. But by making it completely inaccessible to the public, there are also instances such as the ones I've described, where it just creates a huge problem. Furthermore, if you are dead set on claiming that dislikes lead to poor mental health, you could, actually get rid of the dislike count. But, do it in a way that isn't so half-assed, because as things stand right now, creators are the only ones who can see their dislikes. I can still see how much everyone hates my videos. Me, the this feature is supposed to benefit. You see why that's the problem, right? Wouldn't it make more sense if it were the other way around, where others can see the dislikes, but I can't see them, though? That would probably just give me worse anxiety, not knowing something everyone else knows. So you can always just, stop totaling up the number of dislikes, period. That would make even more sense. It's almost like this was never about creators' mental health, and that was just a decoy all along, so YouTube could remove dislikes from their advertisers' videos without backlash, because people were disliking ads most likely to vent their annoyance at having been shown an ad, and advertisers were getting really butthurt about it because it makes them look unprofessional. No, that's not a surefire truth, just a theory that's been tossed around, and my personal pet theory. But I'm pretty convinced, I guess. Anyway, if we are right, and that's the real reason YouTube did this, I have some advice for the YouTube staff. Just tell the truth, admit it's for advertisers, remind people that advertisers pay our bills, and that we need advertisers, and remove the dislike button without coming up with some convoluted scheme based on sleight of hand to hide it from us, because that doesn't make sense. This is why everyone hates the YouTube staff so much, because the YouTube team lies so often, and not very convincingly. Y'all could have just said, ads were getting a lot of dislikes simply by the virtue of being ads, so we've decided to remove dislikes on ads. There would have been backlash, yes. But most people would have understood that. But instead, you've decided to mangle the whole website. Why? Oh my god. Why? Okay, I'm being a little dramatic right now, but anyway. Now, if you really do care about creator mental health, there are some features you could implement that would make great changes. An option I'd definitely like, make it to where you can hide the newest comments panel. I'd like to go to my creator studio without having to hear Belieber Art 420 say I deserve to be abused, or see some generic pair of initials accusing me of making everything up. Or here, femme warrior hugs and kisses inform me that my gender dysphoria is offensive to women, and then give me unsolicited advice. Why do I need to see that panel that you literally cannot interact with at all? Like, it'd be one thing if you could interact with it at least, but you can't even interact with it. It just shows you the comments. And why do I need to see this? Every time I open up my YouTube studio to perform an administrative task on your website that has nothing to do with comments, when there are plenty of other ways to access comments if I do want to engage with my core audience. Why does this panel, what does it do to improve my user experience? What does this panel do that the whole tab doesn't? Especially since clicking on it just navigates you to the tab. I mean, especially when you consider that going to the tab actually does allow you to filter and interact with the comments. So why do you even need the box? The answers are, I don't. It doesn't do anything. All it does is give me anxiety to perform administrative tasks, on my channel because of the likelihood that I'll run across someone attacking my character or demeaning me based off things I can't change about myself. Usually my comment section is pretty chill. But whenever I encountered a hate comment, it is almost always on here, on this little box on my YouTube studio. Why is that, you ask? It just automatically sorts newest across all videos. My videos, I mean. And most of my comments are on popular videos. Most of my hate comments are on popular videos. And the bigger the video, the meaner the comments. I know when a video is going to get me attacked by a loud and vicious minority of people, and on those videos, I only sort by top when I want to engage with the comments, and I don't read the newest ones. I only read the ones that get the most upvoted, you know. But this panel made damn sure well that I knew that there are people out there who believe Creepshow Art's word salad, and that those people really, really want me to die. Like, really, they want me to drop dead right now. And I don't want to turn comments off on that video, though, because a lot of people have a lot of feelings about Creepshow Art that they really need to vent, okay? I don't want to take away something that brings some people peace, just because Creepshow Art fans are using it to send me hate mail. The community needs to be able to vent and express themselves, especially after a big betrayal like this, and I'm happy to give people a place to cry about it, about how they used to enjoy their videos, how they feel betrayed, a place for people to vent that they never trusted her, a place for her former friends to say they never see it coming. You know what I mean? And I'm not turning off that comment section, but damn, if there was one particular comment section that I would love to turn off, or at least, like, you know, mute, it would be that one. Like, that's a feature I'd really like to see, a mute comments feature, to where people can leave comments, but I can't see them. I would adore that. Can that please be a thing? Please. The problem is, you see, I did expect some hate and criticism for that video. Maybe not this much, because I would have never guessed it would end up being posted on Reddit. But, you know, a good fair amount. But I could just as easily get this hate train on a more vulnerable video, and I know this because I've experienced it relatively early on in my career. I was so badly bullied for my non-binary identity in one of my videos, which had only like 5% dislikes, by the way, but it was just so saturated with almost nothing but hate comments that I deleted the whole video. According to these comments, I was anti-feminist for not identifying as a woman. I was homophobic for calling glitter gay. I was an embarrassment to the LGBT community. I wasn't a real transgender. I'm the reason alt-right people kill real trans people. I'm not non-binary. I'm a confused trans man. I'm not non-binary. I'm a confused lesbian. I'm not non-binary. I'm an attention seeker. I'm not non-binary. I'm just crazy. I kept reading them continuously, hoping that if I read long enough, I'd find a positive or affirming comment, or maybe even just some stupid meme comment. But no, I didn't. I'm not a turn off the comments kind of guy. I'm very all or nothing, so I chose nothing. I deleted the whole video to get people to leave me alone. That was like 4 years ago, and I'm still afraid to openly talk about certain subjects on this website. And it's funny because back then I at least reminded myself that the high like ratio at least projected to my audience that the video itself was quality, even though I was just being targeted for harassment in the comments. The high like ratio compared to dislikes was a comfort for me, my only comfort, because I understood when I saw that the majority of the people who were watching that video in my target audience identified with my pain, or at least understood my struggles of being taken seriously or believed as a non-binary person. Now that the dislike button has been removed, my guess is if that happened today, people would probably gauge the quality of the video based on the comments, since I'm kind of paranoid no one can think for themselves, and for a good reason if you take a look at what's going on in the world right now. Then they just assumed that everyone hated the video because all the comments were hateful. People are very mean on the internet. Like, they're getting kind of meaner in person too, in my opinion, because of, am I allowed to say pandemic? Anyway. I would prefer to not read the comments at all. Like I said, I want a mute feature. But I'm worried my audience would miss interacting with me. When you have CPTSD, positive comments don't really have much of an effect usually, or at least that's how it is in my experience. Excuse me, hiccup. There are some things I think about every now and then that make me smile. Some comments I've gotten, especially when people tell me that they loved my book, because I haven't heard that much. But I think about hate comments far more often. They end up being the intrusive thoughts that pop into my head when I go about my day. Like, I'd say at least half of my intrusive thoughts are from hate comments. And that's because, CPTSD, it comes with these feelings of worthlessness and self-loathing. And hate comments feed into those feelings and make them even worse. Hate commenters are really good at identifying your insecurities and using them to hurt you. I will never forget the woman who told me that it was immature, and yes, that's the word she used, immature of me, to go to a male gynecologist, because I should have known I would have found it triggering as a sexual assault survivor. As if I knew that he would shove his huge behemoth fist up my without warning me or letting me know what was going on or what he was going to do, and then he started squeezing my insides inside his death grip, which hurt like hell, to quote-unquote simulate the pain, which made me cry, after which he concluded that I was not in enough pain and I was making it all up because he didn't feel any cysts with those clumsy gloved meteors he called hands. And then when I tried to sit up, I immediately passed out and he just left me lying there. I don't know how to portray how gutted and unsafe I felt in those moments. I'm not good at feeling my feelings, but I will say that I felt at the time very assaulted, and I'm still not sure if that's just my post-traumatic stress misinterpreting what happened as assault, or if I should have kicked him in the face and called the police. Because, to be fair, no other gynecologist has done that. They've all told me what was going on, what they were doing, and none of them have ever tried to hurt me, so who knows. But I guess it's just immature of me to not count on doctors to be like that. All male doctors will be like that, right? That's a healthy mindset. Assume that all men are just out to hurt you, and you should just avoid them. God. Sounds like a very healthy mindset. And to this day, by the way, years later, I still don't know what's causing my chronic pain in my ovaries, because he's the only gynecologist in town who will take my garbage insurance. So I was being criticized for a choice I couldn't really have even made. The choice was him or nothing. He wasn't helpful. My only option is nothing. My family doctor treated me for early perimenopause symptoms, but we haven't ruled out endometriosis and we aren't entirely sure what's going on. So, Ashel, you want to know why I immaturely decided to face a triggering situation? Because if I wanted to get better, I had no other choice but to suck it up and face my fears. Which is what adults do, by the way. And my reward for my bravery, I got to have a medical professional hurt me and gaslight me. There you go. You happy? You better be f***ing happy. You see, it's the comments like these that are damaging to creator mental health, not the damn dislike counter. Dislikes do not have an impact on me. Streams of comments invalidating my right to vent the traumatic experiences I've had in my life. Comments thinking that they know more about the situation than I do when I was there and they weren't. Comments confirming my worst fears about human nature. Comments about hurting women and children in sensitive ways. Comments that no one should have to read. And I'm at my wit's end trying to make my comments section a safe space for people like me to scroll through and find a sense of community without feeling the same way that I feel. All I want to do is clean up my comment section so survivors of traumatic experiences like me don't have to read this shit and feel bad. Is that so bad? Is it? Sorry, I'm getting really fired up. I need to stop. I'm being emotional. Anyway, YouTube could really do more to filter comments like these, such as keep them from ever getting left to begin with. They do so much to police the language we use in our videos to the point where people are paranoid to have serious discussions and even avoid making certain videos because they know they're going to be demonetized, and then they're prey to this insidious form of self-censorship. So why can't YouTube bring that same energy to the comments section? Why can't they make viewers afraid to attack marginalized people, people who have survived abuse, etc., etc.? How are advertisers more important to YouTube than the actual content creators who make up the heart and soul of this hell site? No one would watch YouTube without us, and yet YouTubers are taking long, sometimes permanent periods of leave because of how people are treated on the internet. All YouTubers want to do is put a smile on people's faces, and the reward for that is honestly abuse. Because I know I'm not the only one who's tired of being harassed. Clearly, if people are leaving rude, abusive comments, they feel safe doing so, meaning there are no consequences to their actions, no real one, and YouTube needs to think about what they could be doing differently as a company to change that. Also, remove the YouTubers who clearly have an agenda to harm people in protected groups, as these people are influencers in all the worst ways. And I realize this is already in the terms of service, but actually enforce it. IP ban individual commenters who target people in protected groups and such. Don't wait until it's too late. You know damn well what sorts of YouTubers end up leading cancellation campaigns or prejudice comment raids. Ban those YouTubers. They're the problem. They're already breaking your terms of service the minute they spread hate against a protective group. So what is it that why can't you just enforce the terms of service you already have? And then, if there are several reports on a single user, maybe investigate that user. Close their accounts. IP ban them so they can't make a bunch of alternate accounts to leave me comments about molesting and cannibalizing children. And yes, this is something that actually happened, and it was in a live chat too, so everyone who was there could see it, and my viewers were very understandably upset, and it really kind of messed up the flow of the stream. It's part of why I don't stream anymore. If you don't have enough people to do that job anyway, hire people to do that job. Jerks do not need an account on your website. You should not want these people on your website, not even on a moral principle. I don't think companies care about morals. I just mean from a business standpoint. Trolls are very bad for business in so many ways. Way worse than dislikes could ever be. I mean, come on, they're one of the single worst factors leading to YouTubers quitting is the comments. Just about everyone agrees the comment section is the worst part of this website. There are people out there on the internet whose sole jobs are to delete bad comments. I mean, I'm remembering the 90s right now, so if that job doesn't exist anymore, I don't know, maybe we should go back to that, because some comments just shouldn't exist. It's not dislikes that make YouTube look like an unprofessional cesspool. Dislikes are normal. It's the comment section that's ruining everything. This is no mystery. This is not news. It's just something we've known for a very long time. But nobody wants to talk about it because then they just look like a puss and people will just be like, well, don't read your comments. And it wouldn't be difficult to implement or at least improve comment moderation. Even the simple act of putting up a message in the comment box reminding people to be kind because YouTubers are real people would help some. I suspect that in the case of a lot of hurtful comments that are left, the person didn't really realize they would affect a real person on the other side of the screen, didn't think about how their tone would look when read out, or didn't consider that their comment was just hurtful or rude or whatever. Most commenters also, they don't stop to consider that the person they're criticizing may have a mental illness, or maybe they're just having a bad day, or that their critique isn't really necessary. I mean, that sort of thing. They don't really consider the impact that the collective has, because they don't really consider that they are part of a collective. Everyone thinks they're the main character, But, knowing there's a chance that they didn't realize how they came across, it doesn't make it hurt any less. Just a polite message reminding people that they're publicly interacting with a human, not just typing into a void. I think it's kind of necessary. I see it all the time in Reddit. Maybe something like what they have in Reddit, where creators could set their own guidelines for comment sections. I can only imagine how horrible my comment section would be if I couldn't block certain words, phrases, and dog whistles from my comment section, though it seems only half effective at best. I personally operate under the general guideline of if the comment is at least true, I will leave it up. And if it's a nonsense allegation, propaganda, abuse, etc., I delete. What would really be truly nice if you could just turn off the comment section without it crippling your engagement, or mute it like I said earlier, and leading to the video not circulating like it does when you don't... You know what I'm trying to say, meaning you won't make any money if you turn off comments. That shouldn't be a thing. I love most comments on YouTube. I don't want to turn them off, but there are just some videos where I'm better off if there are no comments, especially in a time like this when I'm trying to heal. But if I turn them off, I know there's a good chance I'm taking the video because of how important a role comments play in your video being picked up by the algorithm. Commenters really need to understand, though, that while all comments are appreciated, after all, even a go kill yourself will boost my video in the algorithm and make me more money, which I need to live, pay for things like food, vet bills, etc. But while it's perfectly fine and even expected for people to disagree with me and critique my work, you've got to understand. I've already heard it a million times before, and it sucks that so many people won't give me the benefit of a doubt, assume the worst of my intentions as a creator more or less constantly. And I feel like people want me to be a villain, and I know other creators will exploit each other for views. I know other creators will psychologically profile each other just for clicks. I know all those things. But I would hope that just because there are some assholes on this platform, y'all won't assume most of us are like that. I know it's hard to believe, but I didn't make my Creepshow art behavioral analysis as a get out of Hobo Life free card, and I did not earn that much money for that video. Not nearly as much as people probably think I did. I made that video so I could help people, and it accomplished my goal, which was to help people. And believe me when I say I'm glad I did it, but I'm never doing it again. At the end of the day, I'm just a down-to-earth kind of dude that hates drama. I'm not even sure I want to post my Creepshow art storytime video anymore if this is how people are going to react. And, God, Patreon is really the only website I feel safe on, where I feel people won't assume the worst of my intentions at all times. Shannon hurt a lot of people, myself included, but still I'm getting constantly harassed by people who are still fans of Shannon or who sympathize with a literal actual stalker because that video outperformed all my other videos. And YouTube wants to constantly show me the newest comments on that video every time I go to check my analytics. It shouldn't be like that. And for comparison purposes, I have encountered drama on TikTok exactly one time in my whole existence on the site. Once. Meanwhile, on YouTube, I can't escape it. No one can. I don't even watch drama videos. I have not watched a single drama video in over a year now. And yet I still constantly get shown them. Notice how many art YouTubers signed off when the Creepshow art drama hit. And like I previously established, I can't avoid comments when they're right there in my YouTube studio, filtered by newest first. Also, there's no longer a dislike count that people who are pissed off can vent through, so more people feel the need to personally let me know that they hate me. And since none of my other videos are getting attention right now, the only way I can combat this is to constantly engage with my audience with new videos. But do you really think I have the energy to engage with that right now? No. Not now, when I'm constantly having episodes for my PTSD. But it's either that or not work at all and tank my channel. So in order to keep myself from being bombarded with my most tone-deaf, insensitive comment section to date, since it would be a crime if I could simply just customize the information shown to me on my dashboard, I found a loophole. Enjoy my frequent polls on stupid shit that I know will get people fired up, but that I personally don't care about. Don't be shy about using this exploit, my fellow creators. Yours for the taking. You're welcome. Is Tom Nook a good guy tanuki, or an exploitative evil raccoon? My subscribers have feelings about it, and so do yours. Wouldn't it be nice if we could just turn comments off without our finances being impacted? Even just temporarily, because you see, I'm not in the headspace right now to be reading them. But YouTube is designed in a way to where you can't avoid them. And social media is, unfortunately, how I make money to live. And I'm just not in the headspace to be this broke either. And I'm not mentally stable enough to hold down, like, a day job right now. Don't get me wrong, I do love waiting tables. I had a lot of fun waiting tables at Waffle House, but it also got really stressful at times. A lot of customers are just completely unbearable, and so that really leaves YouTube as my only realistic option right now. Burnout, here I come. I know everyone wishes they could be a YouTuber. I know people envy me for my position. It looks so glamorous to have so much attention all the time, to put out videos that make people happy, but whether you believe me or not, the truth is, it's a curse in so many ways for the world to have unrestricted access to you, especially when you lack the resources that traditional celebrities have, like gated homes, security, bodyguards, of course, finances, to get medical treatment, such as rehab, medication, therapy, just the basics, depending on how hard up for cash you are. And YouTube does not offer you any kind of insurance either. Not that I know of, at least. And being a YouTuber, it's kind of like a trap. Like, once you step into it, no matter how deep you are in poverty before and after, you can't easily escape it because you're even deeper in this feeling that you owe your audience to something. Shout out to my fellow people pleasers. And I know it may be hard to believe for some of you, but please take my word for it. You do not know how lucky you are not to know what people really think about you. Be able to disconnect from social media when it's stressing you out, to be able to quit your job after serious traumatic events and take a mental health break, knowing that you can come back to said job or even get a similar one or whatever. And I know that that doesn't apply to everyone. A lot of people are having a really hard time right now in this economy, but like, I see people do it every day, mostly Gen Z who seems less attached to their shitty exploitative jobs. Not that I can really blame them, but I digress. And would I love to take a break, but I can't. Because I'll feel guilty for not providing my audience with consistent entertainment. The algorithm will actively punish me for not consistently uploading, be it because I took a break or because I just spent too long working on a single video. And they'll do that by taking it out on my finances. Hint for what's coming up next. You know, that's the reality for the average YouTuber. And yet, in spite of it all, I love YouTube. I don't want to have to leave it just to preserve my sanity. This video is shaping up to be much longer than I originally intended, so I'll cut this part off here. Part 2, if I'm feeling up to it, will focus on more things that YouTube could do to improve creator mental health, such as get rid of the algorithm that produces performance reviews on every video. I'm not kidding, guys. That's like a real feature that YouTube has an algorithm for. And it is constantly roasting my performance because I don't have the energy to be an attention-seeking drama whore. And I will be talking all about it and other algorithm-based mental health traps in part 2. Please rate this video before they take away that feature too, and subscribe for part 2 if you liked this one, and I'll see you next time. Blessed be, motherfuckers. If you would like to support my channel, I'm selling a lot of art prints on Store Envy. Prints are a lot like NFTs, but they're better for the environment. You can actually see them and hold them in your hand, and more people will see them.